Now, Storm Watch 12 weather with meteorologist Oliver Smith.
Well, we're looking at a bit more cloud cover along the Oregon coast, and that'll be the theme for the remainder part of the day today as we're looking at a leading edge of our next system moving into our region. Now, current temperatures were all into the 50s throughout the entire region, the cool spot being 50 in Brookings and in Chemult. Everyone else warmer, 54 in Medford, almost 60 degrees right now in Montague. Now, we were looking earlier at some of those clouds, and there's a few sprinkles way offshore, but if we get any showers for today along the Oregon coast, they'll be pretty minuscule in terms of amounts. So that might be a case where you might have to use your wipers once or twice. That's really about it. So here is our first system. It's running into this big ridge of high pressure, which gave us the beautiful weather for the last several days, and actually pretty nice for today as well. So this system is pretty weak. The next one farther offshore, that'll gather a bit more strength, and that'll impact us on Friday. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But for today, we'll be looking at some clouds throughout the region. Our first cold front, which will be that weak system that we were just looking at, moves through today, so that cools us off a little bit, giving the coast a few showers for today. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. For Thursday, we'll be looking at later in the day, Thursday and into Friday morning, that stronger system moving into the region. That's when we'll finally start looking at some of the leading edges of rain for the coast and then eventually inland. But forecast for today, very nice temperatures all throughout our region. We're going to be right around average to a little bit above average temperatures into the 60s, 50s along the Oregon coast, 53 for Brookings, 66 in Medford. Tonight, lows into the 30s and 40s. We'll see a bit more cloud cover, keeping temperatures up a little bit more. 34 is the forecast low for Klamath Falls. 42, 43 for Medford and Grants Pass, 38 for Wairika. Now later on this afternoon, we'll be looking at some of the breezy conditions east the Cascades. But once we get towards Friday, we'll start looking at that wind picking up a bit more, especially east the Cascades and in parts of the Shasta Valley. You could already see here, at least in Ashland, looking at wind gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour. We could even be looking at stronger wind gusts, maybe upwards of 50 miles an hour in select locations for Friday. And that could also continue into Saturday as well. As the systems move through, they'll be providing a lot of wind. So we'll be keeping an eye on that in the days to come. Now, in terms of pollen forecast, mulberry, ash, and oak, if you have itchy eyes or anything along those lines, we're not going to get a whole lot of relief from that pollen until we get towards Saturday. So we're going to have to suffer for a couple more days. Now, the high pressure that's been over us is starting to sink to the south. Cold air starts to shift off towards the west, but finally this moves in on Friday, and that's going to be the first leading edge of that system for Friday. But then we get towards Saturday, and then we'll start be looking at snow levels between about 3,000 to 4,000 feet, really kind of beginning Friday night, but lasting all weekend. And then after that, we get into a pretty strong west to east flow, which means it's going to be pretty active for most of next week. So no more 70, 80 degree weather for a little while. So we're looking at the Oregon coast forecast, temperatures into the 50s for the next several days, and a chance of rain every day, with the lesser chance being for today. Northern California will be our warmest days today and tomorrow, and then temperatures finally cool back into the 50s. Could be looking at some rain and snow once we get towards Sunday and into Monday, depending on elevation. For Klamath Basin, dry and breezy for today and tomorrow, and then chance of showers for Friday, and much cooler once we get towards the weekend and early next week, only into the 40s. Cascades, we'll finally start seeing some snow once we get towards Friday and into the weekend, so that'll definitely help our snowpack, which we've lost a little bit of some snow over the last couple of days with the warm temperatures. And here in the Rogue Valley, temperatures still pretty mild for the next couple of days, but we finally cool back into the 50s beginning on Saturday.